Turning now to the latest on the coronavirus, many of the testing sites are closed today due to the severe weather. Officials at the free walk-up site at Xavier University say they will double the number of tests tomorrow to 500 in order to make up for today's rainout. It's also possible that they will add an additional day of testing this week on Saturday. Louisiana unemployment numbers continue to skyrocket, with an additional 12,000 people filing compared to last week. The Louisiana Workforce Commission says there were nearly 92,000 unemployment insurance claims, up from nearly 80,000 last week. 1 year ago, that number was closer to 1,600. And taking a look at the latest numbers on the coronavirus in Louisiana, the statewide case count is up to 25,739. That's an increase of around 500 cases. The number of deaths has reached 1,540. And out of 1,700 patients who are hospitalized with COVID-19, 274 of them are on ventilators. Well, Congress is taking action today to help small businesses devastated by the coronavirus pandemic and social distancing restrictions. Skylar Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
The House is expected to pass a nearly $500 billion stimulus package today.
We have to be very prayerful, and we have to be as bipartisan as we can possibly be, as united, working together.
The bill provides another $310 billion for the small business loan program that keeps workers employed after the first round of funding ran out in just 2 weeks. $60 billion is designated to help rural and minority-owned small businesses.
At a time of great crisis, Congress has continued to function and has come together in a bipartisan manner and has done important work on behalf of the American people.
But even before this latest bill is signed, the battle lines are being drawn over the next round of stimulus spending.
Democrats want to include money to support state and local governments, which have been decimated by the pandemic. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's okay letting states declare bankruptcy.
It's also time to begin to think about the amount of debt that we're adding to our country and the future impact of that.
President Trump says he's not worried about the government taking on more debt.
This was an attack. This wasn't just, oh, gee. And this wasn't the flu, by the way. You know, they like to say the flu. Nobody's ever seen anything like this.
The president asked his CDC director to clarify comments that a second wave of the coronavirus this winter could be more difficult because it coincides with flu season.
I'm accurately quoted in the Washington Post as difficult.
But Dr. Robert Redfield says he disagrees with the Washington Post headline, which said the second wave could be more devastating. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The White House also reassigned the man leading the government's efforts to find a coronavirus vaccine. Dr. Richard Bright says he was removed for resisting a push toward unproven treatments such as hydroxychloroquine touted by President Trump.